What pests are actually covered in a standard pest control service? You sign up for pest control, a few months or a few years later, you get a roach and you call the company and they say that's not covered. That is so frustrating. It's also avoidable. When it comes to pest control, certain things are covered, certain things are not covered. I'm going to cover some of the basics and I'm going to tell you how to find out specifically whether your problem is going to be covered or not. One of the best things you can do when you call for a service is think about your current issue and think about what else you're really concerned about. Make sure to tell the company what's going on and ask them, is this included or do you even offer it? And if so, how much extra is it going to cost me? As a customer, you might think, I'm paying for pest control, why aren't you taking care of my bugs? That's a very logical assumption, but it doesn't always play out that way in the real world. There are reasons why certain bugs might not be covered. It might be a legal reason, such as the law requires a company to have a different license. There are a lot of companies who treat for ants, spiders, centipedes, wasps. If you sign up for pest control, you can pretty much assume that you're going to be covered for those pests. When it comes to something like termites, there's less companies that are going to be able to go in and do a localized treatment. There's usually only a handful of companies in the entire state that are licensed and trained to do a tenting where they're going to kill everything with a gas. Other times it might be a type of a pest that requires a specialized treatment or a specialized tool, and a company can't include it, or they'll just lose money when customers run into that kind of a situation. Some of the things that are usually not covered because they're specialized or they're more expensive or different things like that. Termites are not usually covered. In fact, unless you're doing a termite-specific plan, they're not covered. Gophers are not covered. Wildlife, mosquitoes, some rodents, and some roaches. A lot of companies are going to cover the really big, scary roaches, but they won't cover the little tiny ones. It might seem backwards, but it just comes down to the specialization of the treatment and the amount of time and effort it takes to control the very large roaches versus the small roaches. But you're going to want to make sure to ask specifically. A lot of pest control companies are going to offer coverage for rodents like mice and rats. It may be extra, it may be included. You're going to want to clarify that for yourself. But if you're looking at a different rodent like a vole or a gopher, that's something that most likely is not going to be covered under your standard general preventative pest control plan. There's certain pests that most pest control companies most likely won't do, like pigeons or termites or specialized things like that. There's other category of pests that most likely is covered, but you might have to pay extra, like fleas or ticks or carpet beetles or mosquitoes. Again, when you have a pest problem and you're hiring a pest control company, take a couple seconds and think about not only the current pain point, but what else do I want to make sure is covered so that I'm not surprised later finding out that they don't even do it or it's an upcharge. At Local Bug Guy, we're an open book. We don't want to sign you up for something that doesn't work for you. We don't want to take your money and find out later that you were expecting to have something covered that wasn't. We don't want to have that type of a relationship. We want to have an open, honest, human connection where it's a win-win for everybody. If you're having a pest problem, give us a call. We'll give you a direct answer. Ask us if it's covered or not, and we'll help you decide what's best for you.